spaces that were
Yes.
lined out.
Yes.
So this is going to be allowing you to see exactly the bride. Usually I have starts here,
Okay.
and this allows a very nice long walk for her.
Okay.
Will the bride be walked in with her father?
Yes.
Okay. Either her father can start back here, or there's also a pocket door right before the first archway
Yes.
that the guests would be able to come out from who are part of the bridal party. So that would be bridesmaids, groomsmen, any ring bearers, or any other individuals who would be walking in a processional could start here. And that would also be a place where the bride's father would be able to pick her up, or, as I said, starting all the way back with her, that would be an option too.
Yeah.
Now, what we generally do is have everyone lined up in the library,
Okay.
usually about a half hour before anybody starts arriving. We try and have everybody there. If the bride and groom are not going to be seeing one another before, that's something that, of course, we talk about through the planning.
I would not, but she says she
She's
would
thinking
like
about
to.
first
And I
look?
was speaking to Jorianne.
Uh-huh.
Jorianne
Oh, Jorianne is a
Photography.
great photographer.
Well, she was saying, she highly recommended that they get those pictures taken care of early.
And it's
I think
important.
That's a great idea,
I think
especially with if it's here, it's so beautiful.
You want to capture
You want to
all
make
of
sure
it.
you get all that, and you don't want to be rushed.
I agree. I
Why,
completely agree.
why would you have it here if you're not going to take advantage of it?
Now, two ways of setting up the ceremony. Either we can set up in the middle of this octagon and have the family and friends surround in a U shape, still leaving the aisle open here. Or the second option would be the more traditional, which would mean bride and groom stand on either side here. The officiant, I tend to have stand back in this larger box.
Okay.
We do close off these two palms so that you don't see any of the cars in the street, which is important.
Yeah.
And then the guests are actually going to start sitting right about here. These two chaise lounges you see will go back on either side of the palms, and then that means that you have a really nice area between you and your guests to get married. I think that's very important. You don't want your guests right on top of you.
Right.
So we do recommend having audio in this space, just because even though the acoustics are great, your ceremony is very important. You want your guests to be able to hear your vows. So because you're normally going to be looking either at each other or facing forward, you want that to project back to them. So either you would be mic'd or your officiant would be mic'd. Okay. Into the library space. Now this is always a good option for the guys to walk out of, one of these side areas. The reason that I do that is because it keeps your guests very engaged in the ceremony processional when you have multiple entrances and exits. If everybody walks down the same aisle, it's just that traditional feel. So you want kind of a little twist to it. Now this, any religious affiliation is going to be for the wedding.
We're not sure about that.
Okay, so if there is marriage license signing, which generally does go
Yes.
on, we would
I
have
think in
that.
any case that you
In
have
all
to do that.
cases, we do that. We usually use one of the tables on the side. We bring that over into the middle, and then you're allowing all of your guests to be able to see you sign the marriage license. I think that that's really nice. Those pictures are great.
Okay.
Talking about pictures, this property, spectacular. So bridal party all lines up in here. This is also where after the ceremony, the bride and groom come in and take just a few moments to reflect on the fact that they have just said their vows, that all of their family and friends are here celebrating with them, but it gives them a little bit of time on their own. So I've seen so many weddings where they just jump right into going, now cocktails, now pictures. And it almost goes by like a whirlwind. And I think that it's such a special day, and you really want to reflect on what's going on and fully engage yourself in waiting, realizing,
And enjoying.
That's right. Then we circle back out. And normally what I have is the bridal party. After the bride and groom go in here, the bridal party will do their recessional, and then they invite everyone into cocktails. I think that that's a really nice way for your guests to get to know who's in your bridal party.
Okay.
Even though it's fairly intimate. We're looking at, how many total guests did we say? 60?
Well, we said 60, but I was going to talk to you about that. If we had 70 or 75, is that going to make a huge...
That won't make a huge difference because we can still use the space that I had offered you.
Okay.
So
We don't have to worry about a tent or anything.
You still do not have to worry about a
Okay,
tent.
good.
70, it gets a little bit tricky because the conservatory and the terrace seated, I had done 60.
Okay.
If you're at 70, you may have a few standing in the back. It's not the end of the world. It definitely is going to save you money on that $3,700, $6,500 tenting.
Okay.
I think the inconvenience of standing for 15, 20 minutes is quite all right for your guests.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes.
So around the fountain is where we would host your cocktail reception. The tables immediately around the fountain are removed. The tables that have the marble tops and the umbrellas stay in place. At the base of the steps over here, I do remove those tables as well, just to make sure that you do have a nice large area.
Okay, so just making sure I'm hearing all the tablecloths, they're gone.
Correct.
These will be here with the umbrellas on them?
Yes, generally we do have the umbrellas, but we have the option of taking those out.
Are the chairs around them as well?
Yes.
Okay, so
But
some people can sit.
correct.
Yes.
And quite a few of the chairs go away.
Okay.
The bar, we generally have on the other side of that Birds of Paradise foliage, to the left, on the other side of the walkway, kind of where those gentlemen are walking right now. That allows your guests to be seen right away by the person who's bartending, allows them to get a drink, they don't have to walk too far. We also butler pass champagne, so that's a nice option to be able to not have all of your guests bombard the bar right away. For your backup ceremony, we can either use the terrace, because you're looking in July, and we normally do not seat on the terrace, so we have the terrace and the conservatory. Right now the conservatory is being used, so I can't show you everything that's in the property, but it links the two spaces.
So the conservatory would be empty pretty much, you'd use it as a walk through?
The conservatory, I would recommend putting your bar in the conservatory and making more of kind of a lounge themed area, high tops, bar. If people want to step away from the dance floor, they can go in there and they can be amongst that space. But in here, if we are going to be the 75 people, which really I would say 75 is going to be the maximum that I would put in this space.
Okay.
If we are going to be that, then there's no room for a bar anyway. So it's nice to have the option of doing that.
How
here.
large is the dance floor?
A 15 by 15 foot. So 15 by 15 means that it's going to span, and me saying 15 by 15 is always arbitrary because I like to visualize.
Right.
So we would span from door to door, right in front
From
of the
the
stage.
inside of the doors?
From the inside of the doors, because these are service doors.
Okay.
Your stage, which, entertainment, anything that you guys have talked about?
We're thinking about, well, we love, at least the bride's family loves to dance.
Okay.
So ballroom dancing, you know, everything from Frank Sinatra on to contemporary, I'm sure.
Okay.
So that's quite a broad range, but we're not thinking large with just 60 or 70 people. We're thinking maybe a smaller, I don't know, do you have recommendations?
I would recommend doing something like a 4 or 5 piece band, but then allowing the band to be able to switch over to being a DJ when it gets later in the night. I think that having that very classic music and ballroom dancing and just an endless, timeless era during dinner, and then switching over to kind of a party music, contemporary, more what's now. When you book a band, there are going to be limited genres that they would be able to do. So specifically doing something which would be during the 50s, 60s era, those would not transition really well, those musicians, into doing top 40s.
Right.
It just is not going to translate, and the guests are going to be like, this is an interesting version of, let's get it started.
Right.
So you just want to make sure that you're thinking about that span. And I think that would be a good option.
Okay.
Because if the band can then turn on, you know, a playlist that maybe you talk about or do's or don'ts for the music, then it kind of picks up the music a little bit, but you still have the best of both worlds. So back to your dance floor. Door to door, and it will come out right just past here.
Okay.
So for 70 people, it gets packed.
Yeah.
For 120 people, I do the same size dance floor.
Okay.
So
And that's crazy.
That just gives you an idea, yes. For 120, they get the same size dance floor, and it's a great size dance floor because it doesn't look, I've been to weddings before where you have this 20 by 28 foot dance floor or 27 foot dance floor, and it looks empty the whole night. You want your pictures to look like the room is full. You want that energy and that feel of that energy. Tablecloths are going to be our standard raw silk floor length.
Mm-hmm.
We do a white overlay, and the white overlay is going to be quite a bit longer than what you see on this
Yeah.
table here.
Yeah.
The chairs are going to be our standard chairs, but we do have the
Are
option.
these your standard chairs?
These are our standard chairs.
Okay.
We do have an option of covering these. There is a company out of Chicago that does chair covers. It's about $7 per chair to cover. Removal of these chairs, if you don't love them, is substantial. You'd be looking at around $6,000 just to remove
Don't
these
think you're going
chairs.
to be removing the chairs, okay.
No. I think that the charm of this room is that it
Yeah.
is very well put together, and you can do a lot with uplighting. You can do a lot, even the credenzas, if you want to put in family photos in those corner credenzas. So instead of doing the plates, or even
Yeah.
keeping the plates would be an option. I've seen the LED candles as well, so that looks really nice. Just making it more into a private home that you're entertaining
Sure,
in.
absolutely. I think that's what, sorry,
That's okay.
that's what
I'll
she,
continue moving.
everybody's moving around today. Don't worry, I won't land on you for a long time.
And then the bar is going to be covered right now, but it is a very nice wooden bar that we have. Hi, Steve.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
So now, any questions on the space or on what we have walked through thus far?